Alright, well I'm going to do a little demonstration of the beauty of the Longacre Bumpsteer gauge. Basically I'll just introduce you to the tool here first because it's kind of complicated. Basically what we have is a aluminum frame, and it's two pieces actually. There's the aluminum frame, and then there's a plate that's actually mounted to the brake rotor. And basically that plate has graduations on it in inches, 3 inches in the upward direction and 3 inches in the downward direction. And it's also got a little bubble gauge here to tell you when it's level with the surface. Basically, and oh yeah, it's got a little, on this side it's got a solid little bearing that runs along the left side. And on this side it's got a little dial indicator that runs along the right side. And basically what I've done is I've put my suspension in what's kind of the neutral position, basically where the ride height of my car is at. And I set the gauge so that the dial indicator rides right on 0, and as you can see here, if I just barely tap it, you can see it's just touching off on 0. And the other side is on 0 as well. So over here you've got my Bumpsteer tie rod end, and this is actually Hinson's original kit. And basically, just to give an example of a bad situation Bumpsteer, I've taken out one of the spacers. Basically, stock it comes with a 1/4 inch spacer and a 3/8 inch spacer for a total of 5/8 spacing. And just as an example, I took out the 3/8 spacer just to show what happens when the geometries are incorrect. Alright, well here we go. We're going to go ahead and run the suspension through about 2.5 inches of travel, because that's about all my car can handle. Basically we're going to watch the dial indicator here. And every time the big arrow swings around 360 degrees, that's 1/10 of an inch. So you can kind of get an idea of exactly how much the car is towing in as the suspension travels up. And basically I just have a little jack here underneath the lower A-arm that I use to kind of lift and lower the suspension, and we just kind of keep an eye on the bubble gauge here to make sure that it's nice and straight. So here we'll go ahead and make the suspension travel up 1 inch here. As you can see, the needle is moving as it travels up. Alright, so there's an inch right there, and it actually went almost exactly 1/10 of an inch, so 10/1000ths. And we'll go ahead and go up to 2 inches. As you can see, it's still fairly severely towing in as the suspension travels up. Here we are at 2 inches, and we'll just level out the bubble here. And it looks like it went 210/1000ths, or getting close to 1/4 inch here of tow. And then finally my last 1/2 inch, and we're at about 250/1000ths, or almost exactly 1/4 of an inch. So basically, as the suspension traveled up 2.5 inches, we had 1/4 inch of tow, which is a pretty severe situation there. Alright, so here we go. Now I've added another spacer to the tie rod, another 3/8 spacer, so we've got a total of 3/8 and 1/4, so 5/8 total. And we're going to get back here on the Bumpsteer gauge, and we're going to go ahead and watch what the difference is. So here we're going to put up to 1 inch of travel here. So here you can see that it only moved about 55/1000ths, when last time at 1 inch it was at almost an eighth. I believe it was 100/1000ths, or 1/10 of an inch. Now we're going to go ahead and travel it up to 2 inches. Alright, there's 2 inches right there, and now we're at looks like about 110 thousandths, or pretty much where we were at 1 inch before. And then finally here, we'll go to 2.5 inches. And we went to about 145 thousandths, which is fairly significantly lower than our last time. Let me level it out here a second. Last time we were at almost 1/4 of an inch, and now we're about 1/10 of an inch less. Alright, so this is the last round of measurements that I'm going to do here. I added a third spacer, once again another 1/4 inch spacer. So we've got a total of 7/8 of spacing now, and as you can probably see, it's pretty much about as much spacing as I can get out of this particular tie rod kit. There's maybe 1.5 or maybe 2 threads coming out of the bottom of that nut, and that's about it's about as much as I'd feel safe with, considering it's a nylock nut. I feel like it shouldn't work its way out and don't have to worry too much here. But once again, just touched it off here on the gauge, and we're set at neutral 0, and we're all leveled off here. So let's go ahead and let the suspension travel 1 inch. Now watch, interestingly enough here, for the first inch it may not even move at all here. So there you go, that's a very ideal situation. Pretty normal driving, 1 inch of travel, there's no toe change whatsoever in my car. And let's go ahead and go to 2 inches here. Still no movement at 1.5 inches. Okay, there's a tiny bit of movement as we approach 2 here. So at 2 inches of travel, we had 15 thousandths of movement. That's 0.015 inches. I mean, that's hardly noticeable in a vehicle. I'm thrilled with that. Let's go to our extreme here of 2.5 inches of travel. I mean, this would be a bad day for me. A lowered car. I mean, here we go, 2.5 inches of travel, and we moved a total of 30 thousandths, or 0.03 inches. Basically, I mean, that much toe, you basically never notice that. Factory settings, sometimes they're 1/16 inch toe in, just to keep the car kind of going in a straight line. So I'm pretty happy with the results here. I'm not going to try to add or remove maybe fractions of spacers here. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at, and I'm just going to move forward with the spacing I have right now, and just I think it's going to make a really big difference for me. So that's it for now. Hopefully I'll have some results here in the next couple days or so when I get the car back on the road.